Hey, it's me, Choli. Last episode, I talked about how the pandemic made the college decision process really difficult for me as an immigrant student, working mostly by myself. But I made it through, and now I'm already into my second month of college. As I mentioned in my episode, COVID-19 has obviously been challenging for teachers as well as students. In this episode, Galana Stecco, a junior from Brooklyn, shares her teacher's perspective with us. Without further ado, here's Galana.
Yeah, Josh, I heard you.
Type your question.
Just type your question, Sadiq. Type it in the comment box.
I'm not work. Wait, I'm doing this.
What? I'm sorry. I don't know what you just said.
Josh, type your question.
That's a taste of office hours in my 10th grade history class this past semester. Pretty hectic, right? That's what it sounds like when a teacher and 25 high schoolers on a Zoom call are trying to make sense of what it means to suddenly be attending school from their bedrooms. The woman speaking is my history teacher, Amanda Marzan. At my school during remote learning this past spring, we had office hours like this once a week for every class. There are about 75,000 teachers and 1.1 million students in New York City public schools. According to the New York City Department of Education, each teacher is, on average, in charge of supporting, educating, and tracking approximately 26 students. Having to do this all remotely means teachers have been working harder than ever.
I had to think about, did I really want to make you guys do so much more work in such a crazy moment?
This is a story about one teacher and the challenges that she's faced transitioning to remote learning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. I think it's better on the microphone than this open loudness. Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you know, I currently work full-time as a teacher at the Institute of Collaborative Education, as a human rights teacher for 10th grade.
Amanda grew up right here in New York City.
I think back then there was a little bit more violence in the area, especially because I lived in the South Bronx. And that is a high crime area as well as a low graduation rate area. It is said that about 5% of individuals go to graduate school from that area. So that was very, very hard to hear as a kid growing up, thinking, whoa, maybe I'll probably end up being a statistic.
My experience growing up in New York City has been very different. I have attended majority white and affluent public schools my whole life that have provided me with the chance to play viola and access to internship opportunities. Amanda, on the other hand,
it's like a school to prison pipeline, as they would say. That's what it was like in my neighborhood. Because most of the schools would just fail out the kids and then they end up doing just equally as bad and so on. It kept the cycle going.
Because Amanda has personal experience with school segregation and underfunding, it feels much more real when she teaches about these topics in class. In room 522C, the second smallest in the school, where 25 10th graders sat knee to knee at small tables, we had the richest discussions. I remember one lesson on redlining in New York City. Students were waving their hands in the air, waiting impatiently for a chance to share their thoughts on the issue, which most were learning about for the first time. Mind you, this was Amanda's first year of teaching in New York City. Fast forward to March.
It was like a blast to the face because it just, you remember, it was Friday the 13th, we were in class, and I was like, oh, don't worry, I'll see you guys next week. And then boom, Sunday it was like, nope, nobody's going to school.
I definitely remember. Only about half my class was present, and the janitors were constantly wiping down classroom doorknobs. But somehow I still thought we'd all be back at school the next week and everything would go back to normal. Obviously, I thought wrong. That weekend, schools were shut down and teachers had only 1 week to figure out how they were going to switch to remote learning.
And it's like, okay, not only did I have to adapt to being a teacher, but now I have to adapt to this huge curveball during an epidemic I've never experienced or anyone in the last 100 years have experienced.
The challenges just kept piling on.
There was some conflict between some teachers who were like, we need to make it equally as academically vigorous, while others were saying, this is a hard time and we need to like relieve the amount of work that we give. And so I was kind of stuck in the middle. It's like, I want them to, especially now, because this is, you guys are living history. You need to focus on what's happening. But also, do I want you guys to have like constant coronavirus thrown on top of you?
We originally said the best case scenario would be to come back on Monday, April 20th at the end of the spring break. We could see already that was not going to be possible many days ago, and after very careful consideration, I announced today that the New York City Public Schools will remain closed for the remainder of this school year.
That was Mayor de Blasio announcing the news we all feared in mid-April. At this point, remote learning had become the new normal, and we were all trying to figure out how to settle in.
I think one particular challenge is the attendance. It's easier for students to just like not turn on the computer and do whatever it is that they do, whether it be video games or sleeping until 3 p.m. or whatever it is. It's easier to not do the work. So I've been getting like less amount of submission rates, less attendance in like my office hours. I would say I have about a 65% attendance and submission rate right now. And whether it be of quality too.
This was not just a problem for Amanda's class. According to an article in Chalkbeat, New York, high school attendance during remote learning was only at about 77%. For low-income students across the U.S., engagement rates were even lower. To combat this in her own class, Amanda increased individual communications with students and parents.
In partnership with my co-teacher, we kind of like try to send emails to parents of students who haven't, been on focus, or to see what's going on with them, to make sure they're okay, as well as lightening the load for individuals who may be overwhelmed at the time.
With all of this going on, Amanda and I can't help but long for regular school. Just being back in a classroom, surrounded by my teachers and peers, feels like a million years ago.
Even though there were times that the 10th grade got on my last nerve, I miss being in my classroom with my students and like having them come in during lunch and we just talk about whatever, or even if it was after school and somebody needed extra help with their work, or being in the school setting, being able to talk with the teachers in the same room and not having to distance 6 feet away or whatever it is. I think it's like the togetherness. And now that we have to be apart, it's like, it's weird. Who is writing? Who is doing that?
Oh, I thought it was you. Amanda, why do you write banana on the screen? I didn't do it. I swear to God.
Yes, you can. You can annotate their thing.
No, I swear I did not. I swear I'm not doing shit.
What is happening?
Yeah, can we not?
That is not me.
Alright, can my question be answered now?
Go ahead. This online thing is like very impersonal and impractical, to say the least. But you need to submit this on Google Classroom, because if it's in my email, I'm never going to see it, ever.
8 billion emails.
But I did. So I did. I can never say I didn't do my
All right,
work.
relax.
We don't know if you send an email and we get a gazillion emails a day.
Because it's not like, presence. That's what I think people are missing at this time.
Is it frozen or are we all just silent?
Everyone's just silent.
Yeah, okay.
What about you? What do you miss?
Yeah, I miss just being in a classroom too. I miss seeing like just people every day. I don't see anyone now except my family. Yeah, I think I miss having structure because it's hard for me to get any work done at home just because it's like a very distracting place.
Yeah, and home is seen as like a place to relax.
Yeah.
Not like school where it's like, this is where we do our work, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, and there's like deadlines don't really feel as concrete. But yeah, and it makes me think about like, oh, how nice the people in our class are. And I just think about like going to school and like seeing their face in the morning.
Yeah.
Wow. So I miss that. Personally, I can't wait until we are able to get back to in-person learning, but not at the sacrifice of anyone's health. I miss the personal connections and face-to-face discussions that helped me to learn and think more. Talking with Amanda reminded me of how school is about more than just subject matter. It's a place for having important conversations and forming connections with others. We've lost some of that amidst all of the emailing and Zoom calls of remote learning.
Would it be better if you called in, Elsa? Like on your cell phone?
Elsa, you know what it is? Your internet audio is probably not turned on. So click the up arrow next to the mute button and go to audio and go to join computer audio. Do you not see that? See the mute button, click the up arrow, and then click join computer audio.
It's impossible for me to imagine what is coming. It doesn't feel like we'll be back to normal anytime soon. Until then, we'll keep having hectic office hours, making the best of this new reality, and trying to stay connected.
Once again, that was Gilana Stecco. Gilana wrote and reported the episode with editing and production support from Mira Gordon, Stad Thivora, and Taylor McGraw. Miseducation is a program of the Bell in partnership with Hacking the Report. Support comes from the Pinkerton Foundation, the Summerfield Foundation, and FJC. Make sure you subscribe to Miseducation on your podcast app and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at MiseducationPod. My name is Toli Begum.